Hello and Assalamualaikum. Today we are going to continue with the second chapter of this semester, which is the inequalities and absolute values. Okay, so we have two subtopics in this chapter, which is the inequalities, and the second one is the absolute values. So we have two lectures. So the first lecture is going to focus on inequality. Okay. So, the learning outcomes at the end of the lesson, students should be able to first, to relate the properties of inequality, and then to find the solution of linear inequality. The third one is to find the solution for quadratic inequality by table of sign, positive number line, and graphical approach. Means that there will be three methods to solve the quadratic inequality. What is inequality? So we usually use equation to solve, but now if we have a statement which involves two expressions separated by one of these symbols of inequalities. So we have less than or equal to, more than equal to. So that's why we call it as inequality. It's not equal. The equation, we have equal side. So this is for equation. But for inequality, we have the inequality symbols. Means that the two expressions are not equal. It either less than equal, or more than equal. Example of inequalities, we have 3x plus 7 is not equal. It's only more than or equal to 12. So there will be a set of number representing this value of x. And then x squared minus 3x plus 2 is less than or equal to 0. Solving inequalities means to find the value of x which satisfy the inequality. So the values of x, not only 1x or 2x, but a set of value for x. Okay. Properties of inequality. So this is the second learning outcome for today. So let A and B and C be a real numbers. If A is more than B, then this statement A plus C always more than B plus C. Why? Because A is more than B. So any addition value, a positive value into these two expression, it always true, follow the more than from A more than B. And then A multiplied by C always more than, still more than B multiplied by C if C is more than 0. But it will change the sign, it will be less than when C is less than 0. Means that C is a negative value, negative number lah. And then the reciprocal of A and B. So these properties you need to know because we will use it in many chapters. Okay, A more than B, then if it's a reciprocal, means that 1 over A, it will be less than 1 over B. For example, what are the number more than a certain number? So let's say 3 is bigger than 2. This is always true, right? But for 1 over 3, this one will be 1 over 2. Which one is bigger? So you have 1 pizza divided by 3 and 1 pizza divided by 2. Which pizza you will get bigger? Of course 1 over 2, right? So 1 over 3 is less than 1 over 2. So it will be the opposite direction. This is for when A and B is not equal to 0. So linear inequality. So we learn about linear equation. What it means by linear. So we have the highest power of x equal to the power of 1. So that is linear. So this is an inequality. So we don't have equal sign. The linear, we don't have equal sign. Linear inequalities are inequalities which can be written as ax plus b. So notice here we have x to the power of 1. The highest power is 1. Less than 0. Less than or equal to 0. More than 0. More than or equal to 0, where A and B are real numbers and A must not equal to 0. If it's equal to 0, then we don't have x here, right? set notation and interval notation. So this is how we use to represent the answer for the inequalities. What is set notation? The one with the curl bracket. So the answer should be in X such that what is the interval of the X. And then for the interval notation, we use what? We use the open or close bracket or the semi-open bracket. Okay, so this is what we call as set notation and interval notation. So we use this method to represent the answer for the inequalities. The solution to the inequality x more than or equal to 2 can be expressed in the form of solution set or interval form. For solution set, yes, it says a set of x such that x is more than or equal to 2. So that's how we write it. Okay, so a set of x for x such that x more than or equal to 2. The set of x such that x more than or equal to 2 with a curly bracket. For the interval form, we put it's either, for this one, it's more than or equal to 2, so it's 2 and above. So it must start from 2 up to infinity. So we have a semi-open interval. So close interval at 2 and open interval at infinity. Let's do some example. Find the solution for the following inequalities. Give the answer in the form of solution set and interval form. So they ask you to give the answer in these two forms. Okay, so the first one. So what we want to find, we want to solve for the x. What is the value of x for this inequality? As usual, the same as in equation, what we have to do is to let the x as the subject to get the value of x. So everything without the x, for question A, we just bring it to the other side. Okay, so how to let the x as a subject? We have to eliminate the negative 4. So how to eliminate the negative 4? We have to add up 4 on both sides. To eliminate the negative 4, we add up 4 on both sides. Means that the right side also need to be adding up by 4. Here add up by 4. Here also need to add up by 4. So this one will be eliminated. So on the right side, we have 8 plus 4, which is equal to 12. And then for x, we have to eliminate the 2. So we just have to divide by 2. Okay? Okay. So what is the answer? This is not the final answer. We need to give in the solution set and interval form. So the solution set, it should be a set of x such that x is more than 6. Just copy back the interval here, solution set here. And for the interval form, it should start from 6 up to infinity. So is this 6 included? Not included. So if you confuse, we write down in the number line. So we have 6 and then it said that more than 6. So empty dot to 6. Okay, so it should start at 6 up to infinity. So our interval will be open bracket for 6 to infinity. Okay, so let's do question B. For question B, so we have 4x minus 5 less than 2x plus 9. Now, as usual, we need to let x in the left-hand side to be the subject. Okay, so we eliminate all x on the right side. So how to eliminate the x on the right side? We have to subtract with 2x. So subtract on the right side. We also need to subtract on the left side. And then to eliminate the constant negative 5 on the left side, we have to add up 5 on the left side, add up 5 on the right side. So what do we get? At the left side, we get 4x minus 2x, which is the 2x. And on the right side, we have 9 plus 5, which is equal to 14. So to get the x, we have to eliminate the 2. So we just have to divide by 2 on both sides. So we have x is less than 7. So how to write down in solution set? It will be the set of x such that x less than 7. And in the form of interval, it will be So this is our number line, 7 less than 7. So empty dot less than, so it will be from the left side lah. So our answer should be from negative infinity up to 7 open bracket. Okay, easy, right? Okay, example 2. Find the solution set for the following inequalities. Now, for this question, we have two inequality sign. Is it possible? Yes, because sometimes x in between are two values. Okay, so how can we solve for this type of question? For solution A, so please be reminded, if we only have x on the center of the interval, then we don't have to separate the inequalities. We just have to eliminate anything beside x in the center. So what do we need to eliminate here? We have to eliminate the negative 3. How? By adding up 3 on the center. So if we adding up 3 on the center, means that we have to adding up 3 on the left side, also on the right side. So what do we get? It will be negative 1. X is in between negative 1 and negative 1 and 5 plus 3 is 8. Okay, so this is our answer. So they asked for the solution. We can just leave in the form of solution set or interval notation. So because it didn't stated any form, so we can just leave in any form lah. So the answer should be a set of x such that x is in between negative 1 and 8. For question B, so we have negative 4 is less than or equal to 3x plus 2 and then less than or equal to 11. So same step on question A, we have to eliminate anything that not x. So first we need to eliminate plus 2 here. So how to eliminate the plus 2 here? We have to minus 2 on each side. So in the middle, in the left side and on the right side. So we get negative 6 on the left side and 9 on the right side. Yeah. And then we still have a constant on the x, the coefficient of x. So how to eliminate the coefficient 3 on x? We have to divide with 3 for every side. So divide everything with 3. So we have negative 2 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 3. So the answer should be x is in between from negative 2 up to 3. So next question C. Okay, so for question C, I want you to try on your own. Okay, to try so that you can know whether you understand or not. Okay, so for example 3, find the solution for 1 plus 3x less than 2x minus 3 less than x plus 7. Okay, if we notice this question, we have x on every side, right? On the left side, on the middle, and the right side. So for this one, we cannot just eliminate the x now, because this x has a different coefficient on each side. So what we should do, we have to separate this into two inequality. So the first inequality should be the first part of it, which is 1 plus 3x less than 2x minus 3. And then another inequality is that will be the middle on and the right side. So it will be 2x minus 3 less than x plus 7. Okay, so the statement, original statement, should satisfy both of these inequality. So after you solve for each of these side, what you need to do, you have to find the intersection between the solution. Why? It should be satisfied together, or everything should be satisfied together, not just one side and one side. Okay, so now we solve for one side on the left side. So what do we get? The same step as usual, we need to make sure the x will be on the left side to be the subject. So what we need to do, we subtract with 2x on each side, and then we want to eliminate constant on the left side, so we have to subtract 1 on each side. So what do we have on the left side? We have and here means that it's an intersection. We have x on the left side and minus 4 on the right side. And then how about the other inequalities? So we have to eliminate x on the right side, so we have minus x. And then we have to eliminate negative 3 on the left side, we have to plus 3. And then what do we get on the left side? We have x less than 7 plus 3 is 10. So we have these two answer, right? X should be less than 4 and x less than 10. So which one should be the final answer? So we have to find the intersection between these two sets. So how to find the intersection? The same as we used in the first chapter. How to find the union and intersection between two sets? We have to draw the set on the number line. So draw the number line. So we have negative 4 on the left side, 10 on the right side. Why? Because negative 4 is smaller than 10. So draw the number line, the set number. So we have less than negative 4 and less than 10. So where is the intersection? The one that has the two lines. So it should be this area, right? So that will be your intersection between the two sets. So the final answer should be x should be less than negative 4. Okay, so it will satisfy this inequality, so it will satisfy overall inequality. Understand? Okay. Quadratic inequality. So another inequality we have is quadratic inequality. So for quadratic inequality, it's a bit tricky because we have to solve the quadratic, right? So an equality of the form of ax squared plus bx plus c more than 0, where a, b, and c are real number, which a must not equal to 0. Okay, so if we solve the quadratic, usually we will have two answers, right? So how to determine which one should be our final answer? It will be in between the two roots. It's not exactly the two value of x. So it will be interval. So how many interval for the two values? It can be in between or it can be less than or more than. Okay, so let's see the explanation. So the inequality symbol less than equal, more than equal may also be used. The quadratic inequality can be solved by using, there are three methods to solve it: table of sign, positive number line, graphical approach. But for me, the easiest way to solve the quadratic inequality is graphical approach, because every one of you know how to sketch the quadratic equation. How? It's either smile or sad, right? Really simple. But you have to know all of these three methods because it can be either of this one. So graphical approach, the simplest one. So the graph of a quadratic function y equal to ax squared plus bx plus c, sketch. So kita lukis, and the points where the graph cuts the x-axis are marked. So the cut x-axis is the roots, right? Okay. If y is more than 0, the solution is above the x-axis. So this is our graph. Let's say it is smile graph. So we have the roots a and b cut through the y equal to 0 point. So this is x-axis, right? X-axis is where the y equal to 0. So it's the root. So if y is more than 0, where is y more than 0? It's in the upper side of the line, right? This one is y less than 0. This one is y more than 0. So the solution is above the x-axis. So it cannot be here. So it will be here as the results. So the value of x should be less than a, more than b. Okay. So that's why we need to sketch. It's not exactly at a and b. The solution set x such that x is less than a or x is more than a. The interval form, so it will be from negative infinity up to a and b, union with b to infinity. If y is less than 0, then the solution is below the x-axis. So x-axis is here. So this is where y equal to 0. So when y less than 0, so here will be the area where y less than 0. So the answer should be this area in between A and B. So the answer should be, how to write down the answer in interval form. So x is less than x such that x in between A and B. So this is solution set. And interval form means that it's an open bracket of A up to B. Let's do some example. Example 6, solve the following inequality by using graphical method. Okay, we have x squared plus 6x plus 5 is more than 0. So what are the first thing to solve the quadratic? Always the same. For quadratic equation, inequality, we have to make sure the right side equal to 0. Now, the question already stated that the right side is 0. So after that, what you need to do? We just have to factorize lah. So factorize. How to factorize? You always use your calculator, right? So after you use calculator, you get x is equal to 1, x is equal to 5. But how to write down in the factor form? So it should be x minus 5, x minus 1. Always write down the answer in the factor form. So your answer here will be x plus 5, x plus 1 is more than 0. Now, how to get the answer? Because we have to make sure it's always more than 0. So it can be positive, positive or negative, negative. So the easiest way to solve for this one is we sketch the graph. So if x plus 5, x plus 1 equal to 0, so this is for the roots. So our x should be negative 5 and negative 1. So on our graph, and this is a smile graph, positive x squared. So we have a smile graph. So smile graph with two roots, which is negative 5 and negative 1. So what we want to have, notice here that we want to have the positive value more than 0. So more than 0, this is our y lah. Y more than 0 means that it's above the x-axis. So the answer should be in above the x-axis, where this is the answer, where x should be less than negative 5 or more than negative 1. The solution set x such that x less than negative 5 or x more than negative 1. In the interval form, the answer should be, yes, it's from negative infinity up to negative 5, union with negative 1 up to infinity. Okay, so for question B, we have negative x squared plus 6x minus 5 more than 0. Okay, usually, if you notice here, we want the positive of the x squared. Always solve for the positive x squared. So how to eliminate this x? So we just have to multiply with negative 1. So if we multiply with negative 1, the rule is that the sign will be changing. Kita nampak. The sign here will be changing. Okay. So negative 1 multiplied by x squared is x. Negative x squared is x squared. Negative 1 multiplied with positive 6x, it will be negative 6x. Negative 1 multiplied by negative 5 will be positive 5. So the more than or equal to, it will be less than or equal to. It's always the rule. So this rule you have learned in high school. What are the rules when we multiply, or divide with a negative number? So we have to change the sign or operation. Okay, so we have x squared minus 6x plus 5. So because this is a quadratic, what you need to do after that? Yes, we have to factorize. Use your calculator. We have the roots of x minus 5 and x minus 1, or less than or equal to 0. So for graphical method, what we need to do? Yes, we just have to sketch. So use the quadratic equation that you have simplified above here. So it's a smile graph. So it's always smile graph because we always make sure the coefficient of x squared is positive. So sketch the positive graph, smile graph, with the root of 1 and 5. So we have root, this is when x equal to 5, this is x equal to 1. And now what we want to do is to find the value of y. This is y, right? Y less than or equal to 0. So if less than equal to 0, so we want to find the value of y below the x-axis. This is the area for y less than 0. Okay, so we have to take the in between. Okay, below the y-axis will be in between 1 and 5. So the answer should be x in between or equal to 1 to 5. In interval form, it will be close bracket from 1 to 5. Okay, so now we want to solve the inequalities, the quadratic inequalities, by using table of sign. So how to use the table of sign? You have, it's almost the same as the quadratic by using the graphical method. But table, we have the table form lah. Okay, so now let's do for question A. So we have x squared plus 2x minus 15. The right side is equal to 0, so we don't have to rearrange anymore. What you need to do after that is to factorize. Okay, after we factorize, we get x plus 5, x minus 3 less than 0. So for this table of sign method, what you need to do is to take out the roots, which is if x plus 5, x minus 5 equal to 0, so x equal to negative 5 and x equal to 3. So these two values will be in the table to separate the interval. So negative 5 and 3. So we have 3 interval less than negative 5, in between negative 5 and 3, and more than 3. Okay? So this is our number line with the two roots, right? So we have the 3 interval, which is less than negative 5, in between negative 5 and 3, and more than 3. So list down all the factor in the inequality. So we have factor x plus 5 and factor x minus 3. So for this area, this value x plus 5 will be positive or negative. So how should we know? How you should know? So what you need to do, we just have for x plus 5. What is the root for x plus 5? It's negative 5, right? So we do the circle on this area negative 5, the value for negative 5. And then for x plus 3, where is the root? So the root is 3. So for this row, you put the circle for the 3 here. So how to state whether this area positive or negative? We just have to look at x here. It's positive x, means that on the right side of the circle it will be positive. The left side of the circle will be negative. For x plus 3, the x also positive, right? So the right side of the circle will be positive. The left side of the circle will be negative. So the multiplication between these two signs, negative multiplied with negative, we will have positive. Positive multiplied with negative, we have negative. Positive multiplied by positive, it's a positive. Okay, but what we want to find is the value of y less than 0, means we want the negative value. So where is the negative value? This is the negative value. Okay, so the answer should be, this is the answer. So x such that x in between negative 5 and 3. Okay, so let's see how the PowerPoint do this answer. The same as me, yeah, suppose. So we have the first dot, circle, it should be circle here. We cannot put dot, it should be circle because it inequality. And here also a circle. Okay, and then So for this one, if you notice, they try an error. They take 0. 0 is in between -5 and 3, right? So they take 0 and substitute into the x plus 5. So we get 5, which is positive, right? And then they take 0 to put in this. So 0 minus 3 will be negative. So they take value. So you don't have to do the testing by value. We directly know by following the coefficient of x here. Okay? So the answer is the same as the one that I do earlier. So the answer should be the same now. So we just have to multiply because it's a multiplication between two factors. So we have positive, negative, positive, and the question asks you to find less than 0. So less than 0 means that, yes, we just have to take the negative answer. So pick the negative region, which is x in between -5 and 3. Got it? Okay, so let's do question B. So we have 4 plus 3x minus x squared. So if we follow the form of ax squared plus bx plus c, we get negative x squared plus 3x plus 4. But remember, we always want a positive value of x squared. So we multiply with -1. That's why we have -4 minus 3x plus x squared, which is, after rearrange, we have x squared minus 3x minus 4 more than or equal to 0. So what is the next step? Yes, factorize. As usual, factorize, and we get x minus 4, x plus 1. And then we know from this factor we have x equal to 4 and x equal to -1. So from the number line, we can rearrange that we have 3 interval, which is for x less than -1, x more than in between -1 and 4, and x more than 4. Here we have more than equal, so it should be dense dot. Dense dot. Kita lukis jadi circle, jadi titik. Okay, so we have 2 factor and 2 roots, -1 and 4. So we have the interval x less than -1, less than or equal to, and x in between -1 and 4, and x is more than or equal to 4 with 2 factor x minus 4, x plus 1, and the bottom one should be the multiplication. So now, the first thing, we do the circle. So tadi for question A, we use circle because it's less than. But now we have less than equal, so it should be a dot. So it should be a dense dot here. So for x minus 4, where is the root? It will be here. This is the dense dot. Okay. And then for the x plus 1, the root is at -1. So here is the dot. Dot. It should be a dot. So how to find the positive and negative? Look at the x. So x here is positive x, so the right side will be positive. Here is positive, and the left side will be negative. And then for x plus 1, it's positive also, so the right side of the dot will be positive, the left side will be negative. Okay? Okay, so now we just have to multiply. Negative multiply with negative is positive, negative positive is negative, positive positive is positive. So what is the answer that we want to find? Look at the interval, the last interval we have simplified or rearranged before we factorize. So it will be here. Okay? Or at the factorization here lah. Kat sini pun you boleh guna. So the y we want here is more than or equal to 0. So it will be the positive region lah. So pick the positive region. Where is the positive region? We have 2 positive region when x less than or equal to -1 and x more than or equal to 4. So the answer should be a set of x such that x is less than or equal to -1 or x more than or equal to 4. Okay? Okay. So the next, we want to find the following quadratic inequality using positive number line. So in high school, you may learn this method already. Okay, but I really not prefer this method okay, because somehow you can get confused, okay, because you forgot to consider this one, but let us try use positive number line. Okay, so we have question A, x squared minus 2x plus 9 more than 9, and B, 2 of 2x minus 3 more than or equal to 3x of x minus 5. So for question A, x squared minus 2 plus 1 more than 9. So what is the first thing we have to do for the quadratic equation or quadratic inequalities? Yes, we have to make sure the right side always equal to 0. So we have to eliminate this 9. So we minus 9 on both sides. So we have x squared minus 2x minus 8 more than 0. After that, what you need to do? Yes, always factorize for quadratic. So factorize, we get x minus 4, x plus 2 more than 0. After that, for graphical, we just have to find the roots, right? Same for this one. Table of sign also we need to find the roots. So find the roots for this one, we have x equal to 4 and x equal to negative 2. So all factor always positive. Why? Because we want to more than 0 will be always positive. So these two roots, x minus 4, x plus 2, more than 0. It always more than 0. This is always true. Doesn't matter it's more than 0, less than 0. So all factor we assume is always positive. So when x minus 4, it should be more than 0. X plus 2 also must be more than 0. So x should be more than 4. X also, the other one also, x should be more than negative 2. Okay. Now, what you need to do is to sketch the number line. Number line, we learn it in chapter 1. So sketch the number line with the correct position for the number, the root. So we have negative 2 on the left side of 4. Now sketch these two set number. So we have more than negative 2 and then more than 4. So the one with the line will be positive. The one without the line will be negative. So every set, let's say for the negative 2x more than negative 2, this area without the line will be negative. And then we have three separate area. For this one, because we have the line, it will be positive, always positive. This is like the table of sign, right? But for the 4, for x more than 4, the one without the line here get negative, here is negative, here is positive. So we just have to multiply. So multiply between the two signs, we have positive, here we have negative, here we have positive. But the one we want to find for the question, here after factorize, we want it's more than 0. So more than 0 will be positive area. So we take these two positive answer lah. So the answer should be for x less than negative 1 or x more than 4. Okay, so let's see back how to solve this one. Okay, so after we have sketched the set on the number line, so we separate into three area. So the one with the line will be positive, the one without the line will be negative, right? So the same as the one I said earlier. So for the set of x more than negative 2, these two area only positive. This one is negative. So for the x more than 4, this one only positive, the other two will be negative. So the multiplication will be positive, negative, positive, and what we want to find is the positive, right? Solution set. So we take the positive answer. So it will be x less than negative 2 and x more than or x more than 4. This is the answer. Can? Can. Hopefully can. Okay, so for question B. So we have 2 of 2x minus 3 more than or equal to 3x multiplied with x minus 5. So this is a bit complicated. We didn't know that this is actually a quadratic. So what we need to do is to simplify first. So how to simplify? Expand first. So expand here, we have 4x minus 6. And then here we have 3x squared minus 5. So it's a quadratic. So we need to bring the quadratic, the x into the left hand side. Okay. So simplify, so we get 3x squared minus 19x plus 6 less than 0. So how do we go from the second step to the second line to the third line? So maybe you bring this to the right side or apply lah. For 0, here we subtract negative 4 plus 6. So on the right side also we need to subtract 4x and plus 6. That's why we have 3x squared minus 19x plus 6. This is the opposite. So if we want to swap, so the sign will be changing into less than. That's why we get this answer, this equation. So after that, what we need to do? Yes, factorize, always factorize. So use your calculator. So we get 3x minus 1. So if you use calculator, you get x equal to 1 over 3 and x minus 6, right? X equal to 6, right? So don't forget to rearrange. So this is 3x equal to 1. This is x minus 6 equal to 0. So this one will be 3x minus 1 equal to 0. So this one will be our factor lah. So we have 3x minus 1, x minus 6 is less than or equal to 0. So we have two factors that this factor always positive. So we have 3x minus 1 more than or equal to 0. X minus 6 always more than or equal to 0. Even though the answer we want to find is less than 0, less than or equal to 0. So do this all factor always positive first. So we have the answer here. X is more than or equal to 1 over 3 and x is more than or equal to 6. After that, we sketch the two set number on number line. So our number line will be 1 over 3 and 6. So more than or equal to, it should be a dance dot from 1 over 3 to infinity and dance dot on 6 to infinity. Now we separate the three interval and put the positive and negative sign respectively. So we have positive on the 2 of 1 over 3 here and negative on the left side. And then positive on 6, one side only, and then negative the other two. So multiplication between these two, we get positive, negative, and positive. So which one we should take? Which region we should take? The one that satisfies this statement, which is the y is less than or equal to 0, which is negative. So we want to take the negative region, which is the middle one, right? So the answer will be x in between or from 1 over 3 to 6 inclusively lah. So this is our answer. Or interval form, it will be close bracket of 1 over 3 to 6. Okay? Okay, so that's it for inequality. So how many things we learn? We learn how to solve the inequalities. The linear inequalities, the quadratic inequalities. The quadratic, we have three methods. You have to know all three methods. Okay? Okay, so that's all for this lecture. Thank you.